right, it's 2 o'clock. Man, dog kept me up till 5. I'm only at about 4 hours sleep, but hey, let's get right to it. We'll be saying the Lord's Prayer today, keeping some people in mind. Glenn's Rotary Cups, Buckley McWilliams out there taking care of business. Keith Smith over there, Sean and Bullock, and all of our state leaders and people like that are in positions to make things happen and make things not happen sometimes. So let's keep everybody in the prayer. And of course, Elon Musk and of course, President Trump. So our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, let thy will be done through us here on earth as it will be in heaven. Please, Father, give us this day our daily bread. Please forgive us of our debts, our trespasses as we have and will forgive all others. And please let us not be led into our temptations, but deliver us from all evil. For you are our kingdom, our power, and our glory forever. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. And for my Spanish-speaking friends, Padre nuestro que están en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre, venga tu reino, sea tu voluntad en el cielo, tantos en la tierra. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas, como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. No nos dejas caer en tentación y libranos del mal. Little birds coming out there on my paradise tree, my flowers. So say the Pledge of Allegiance here. We got the flag over here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So it says under God, not Allah, okay? I was talking to some people about the Islamification of America, man. What's going on with that? So yesterday I read the book again. Today I'll put on the book and read the book to you. But I'm probably not going to run the whole book. I'll cut it off. The Truth About Copper. And the reason is because I want you to be healthy. But you also have to be healthy in your mind and your spirit. And physically, you have to get out there and do some stuff. You can't just take a pill for it. You can't just take some advice for it. You have to actually get out there and get yourself sweating for about 30 minutes. Do it as hard as you can for 30 minutes every day, and you'll feel good, a lot better the other 24 hours, 23 hours of the day, 23 and a half or whatever. So the idea is 31-day challenge. Yesterday, I only did 3.18, okay? Top is 3.27. But I had hit 3.17 earlier, so I went that a little extra bit. So it's difficult each day now because I pushed myself to the limit in the beginning at 2.41. That was my max. But my heart rate at that point was like about 143, 145, just trying to keep the pace at 5 miles an hour. Now I'm trying to keep a pace between 6.5 and 7 miles an hour. And Carly is over there. She's trying to keep up. Now, she had said, I went swimming all day. Does that count? And, well, not in the challenge. No, if you go swimming all day, you still have to do your challenge 30 minutes. But she's not in the challenge. I said, well, you're not in the challenge yet. When you get ready to take the challenge serious, you're going to do 31 days. If you miss a day, you got to start all over again, okay? And those 33 and 34 days, when you decide, hey, this is doing good, and you just keep on rolling, those are the golden days, man, because now you're able to go out there and you're able to, hit your max, and your heart rate's at about 130, okay? So today I'll be trying to just get over 3 miles. I'm not pressing it. It's day 20. We've got 11 days till the actual runoff, which nobody has hit the list yet. Nobody's challenged me. I guess it's difficult to put your name on the list and sign up for something or be there on a certain time. But if it's only me, hey, then it'll be me accomplishing my challenge on July 5th. So some of you may be interested. I'll take and run that live on that day so you can watch me go through my grief. Anita's out running around. Like I said, I had an early service call today. Had to go take care of. Sometimes things are very maddening. You're like, oh my God, this didn't work out. This didn't work out. This isn't working out. And sometimes you're under pressure to get these things working out, But You just can't quite get it right. So that's when the Lord's Prayer comes in, see? And I want to discuss a couple things about the Lord's Prayer. All right? I'm a fanatic, okay, I guess you might say. I'm a big fan of when I have difficulties and times are going bad or they're going good. I make sure I thank God for that by saying the Lord's Prayer, all right? And I talk to Jesus, all right? So you can talk to Jesus, but when you pray to God, you're supposed to pray in this way, the Lord's Prayer. That's what Jesus said. So when you're talking to Jesus, say, hey, Jesus, if I'm talking to God, should I say the Lord's Prayer first? I don't know. Here's the thing. And sometimes with desperation, maybe you are talking to God. Maybe you're not remembering. Maybe you don't know the Lord's Prayer. Maybe you don't know it by heart. Maybe you didn't think to do it. But you can do it anytime. Pray. However you want to pray to God, pray to God. I'm not telling you how to pray. I'm just telling you what Jesus said and what has helped me over the last 2 decades and what I promised God I would do when I said, hey, I'll try to get 1,000 people to say the Lord's Prayer with me. Now, it's kind of embarrassing sometimes because, like copper, I'm always saying, oh, you cut yourself. Oh, you got an ache. Oh, you got a burn. Oh, you got neuropathy. You got eczema. Oh, here, you should use the copper cream. I'm a fanatic on that. And I know it works, okay? So I don't know what to tell you. I'm the same thing with the Lord's Prayer. I know it works. So some of you, if you got troubled times, you're bitching and you're yelling, like this morning or barely this morning when I was doing the wires and things didn't work out exactly the way they were supposed to. Okay. Did I cuss and did I get, no. As I'm having the problem, I'm through in my mind immediately saying Padre Nuestro, or I'll say the Lord's Prayer. Okay. When I'm on the elliptical and I'm trying to make that, man, I'm trying to go and I'm trying to keep focused on the time. But your mind, there goes my wife. It's interesting to watch your car drive off there. But I'll say the Lord's Prayer there too, like 8, 9, 10 times. I'll say both of them, but it's my go-to. Okay, it helps. It's like my rock. I don't know whether any of you will get anything from it, but that's the idea of 2 minutes every day. So you guys can cut out now. You've showed up, whoever's there. Hey to Keith, hey to Carly, hey to Anita, just cut out in the car there. But yeah, that's the idea. Is at 2:00 we'll do the Lord's Prayer, and then, then do whatever. If you want to find out what else I got going on or what I want to talk about, that's fine. The kittens, I didn't have to do their eyes the last couple of cycles. So ever since yesterday afternoon, they've been doing good, and they're up and walking now, which is crazy. I don't know. I kind of thought they walked right out of the womb. I don't know, but they're up and walking on their little wobbly legs now, and I'm trying not to get attached to them, but damn it, I am. So, but we still got Winston as number one priority in the house. Okay, you gotta have your priorities. So, the kittens are up for adoption. I'm not going to keep the kittens. I'll keep Mayhem, and I'll get her spayed. So, responsibility is another thing. How would you act in heaven in those situations when I think everybody thinks you're going to go to heaven and everything's going to be it was like a Twilight Zone of the guy that went to heaven and he was a gambler and he won everything all the time, never. And after a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, he understood the story is that it's about the challenge and winning and losing and learning from those losses. Heaven, I don't believe is just going to be okay. We're going to go there, Golden Gates. And what are you going to do all day? You're going to watch TV? Hey, we're going to see what's on Earth now. What's going on in Earth in the year 2800? So what is heaven? Well, I believe that heaven is another spiritual state that you have to reach. Okay, and part of reaching that state is saying the Lord's Prayer. It's the garage door opener. This is what a very spiritual person who he had opened all 7 chakras. He told me about my dreams. He helped me through some very hard times. And he said, this is the garage door opener to heaven, okay? Another thing, too, there's 2 times a day. If you ever catch it and you're out in the wild, maybe Buckley or some of these other guys like Keith, when you're out in the wild, there's a certain time when the sun goes down, when everything will go completely quiet for a brief moment. And there's also one in the morning, from what I understand. So these are times when I think I understand, like a rattlesnake. They say you can cut a rattler's head off, but it won't die until sundown. I don't know. Not like that thing that Lacey said where you can put a frog in boiling water and it'll die. But if you put a frog in tepid water and you bring the temperature up, you can bring it to a boil and the frog won't die. No, that's not correct. The frog will die, but the frog will not jump out of the pot. That's the difference in the interpretation. So when you say the Lord's Prayer from the King St. James Bible, okay, and then when you say the Lord's Prayer in Spanish, there are little differences in the wording, okay? The lexicon doesn't necessarily follow exactly the same. So our interpretations of things over the years and decades and millennia, I believe, can be somewhat deviated, but the core is still there. One God. He gave up his son for humanity. And whether Jesus was the Son of God or not, based on Jewish versus Christian, he was a man that did incredible things that have changed many things throughout history. Okay, you can't take that away. And whatever he did, he passed on by sharing. And that's what I'm doing with you, is I'm sharing. And so the thing is, in sharing, he would tell the masses, but then he would come back and he would break down the story to those around the campfire and his apostles and disciples. And so that's where we're at on the Lord's Prayer. I'm going to break it down as here on earth as it will be in heaven. How many times during the day do you have a situation and say, okay, if I was in heaven or I was in that state, that how would I handle this? Would I suddenly get frustrated? I mean, you don't have the physical things anymore, right? You don't have the carnal things anymore. So what's your spirit going to do? Is it just going to vibrate real mad like a Democrat? Or is it going to peacefully look at the situation, evaluate it? Remember, you got all eternity to solve this problem. All eternity, you know? And I think you have to develop this mental state to be one of those who are then leveled up, okay? Maybe people like Chuck Norris, okay? He not only did it mentally, I believe he did it physically to the T. And that's what I pray for one day. You know, my blood pressure may be 236 over 143. I could go at any minute, you know. But I worked on it. Once I seen it, this is day 20 now. I've got it down to where it's, you know, the top is under 200 and the bottom is closer to 100. And sometimes it's under. Sometimes in the afternoons, if I've really relaxed, it'll actually be somewhat normal, 160 over 89 or something like that. But when I get to the end of this challenge, it's from doing things that I know have worked before, just like the Lord's Prayer. I know it has worked before. The other one is the 23rd Psalm. And the 23rd Psalm is when you are really desperate and you've wore out the Lord's Prayer. But the 23rd Psalm is very important to understand. The Lord is our shepherd, and we shall not want. Okay, make us to lay down beside the still waters and the green pastures, and leads us in a path of righteousness for his name's sake, you know. These are very important things to think about if you're trying to be spiritual, okay? If you're not, don't worry about it, you know. I'll get to the funny stuff here in a minute. But the idea that you can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil is something I have done many times, people. Okay? You got these videos where these guys go on these two-wheeled bikes and run around through Southwest Phoenix when the sun goes down, and, you know, that's dangerous. Well, I used to go to people's houses up to their doors and knock on them. Sometimes the scarier it was, the more I was into going in, even though I knew I wasn't going to get a solar customer from this place. I just wanted to see how low these people how low these life forms can actually go. And then you go tour down, there's a nice clean cut lawn, nice family right there. Boom, 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 right there, right down the road there. Okay. Now, which one of those do you judge, or do you say, oh, okay, well, that person's obviously going to hell. And that one definitely is going to heaven, right? You know, so what you can't be the judge. That's Jesus's job, right? So you discern Which ones do I want to hang with? Well, like I'm saying, I've walked through the valley of the shadow of death on several occasions in several different dimensions, and I'm still fine, and I don't fear it, So, because the rod and the staff, they're on my side. So, we have a lot of resources now to deal with, but we also, like, it's 2:15 now. I have a schedule that I got to keep. Sometimes we rant, sometimes we rave, but break down the Lord's Prayer, and it should fit anywhere in anything you do during the day. You see somebody with a sign out. I just did it the other day. This woman had a sign. Bet you can't hit me with a quarter. Oh my God. I just kind of looked at her, but I said the Lord's Prayer for her, and then somebody else will probably come along and take care of them. So that's the whole show in a nutshell today. I have this thing from this guy who, now, I had difficulty with community standards. Okay. See, you got to take the screen off if I'm going to have a puff on the vapor because of community standards. Community standards when Fauci was telling everybody, oh, you got to wear a mask. Oh, you can't visit your relative as they die. Okay. When the community standards that keep me from doing what I want to do in front of you, but yet other things don't violate the community standards. Okay. That I think definitely shouldn't violate the community standards. But me and Brandon here, we have an agreement, let's say. Okay, this is Brandon and it's layman, okay? And he's going to tell you just exactly what I thought. I'm not quitting YouTube, but if I was in his shoes, I don't blame him. So let's listen into Brandon Lehman here. Here we go.
So the other day I dropped a video called Black America Got a Painful Reality Check. You might have seen it. And I said in the first 5 seconds, YouTube might block this video because YouTube has blocked plenty of my videos for topics they didn't like. So it's not particularly uncommon. But wouldn't you know, 3 days and 600,000 views later, I wake up to see YouTube didn't just block the video, they gave my channel a copyright strike. And copyright strikes are what gets a channel terminated permanently. But the worst part is the copyright strike was completely malicious because the person who filed it tagged me on X to let me know they did it. And if any obscure nobody who doesn't like me or doesn't like what I say in a video can harm the channel in this way, it's inherently risky. And like I said before, I've always known YouTube blocking a video from being published is a possibility. It's happened to me more times than you can think. There's probably 15 or 20 videos I've never posted because of that. But I never considered I'd get a copyright strike. And now I see I'm not as safe as I thought. And I realize if my channel went down today, I'd have no way of staying in contact with my audience of 700,000 loyal, dedicated patriots. And that's a serious problem and a risk I'm no longer willing to take. I'd be absolutely devastated if our relationship was permanently severed. And I'd like to think some of you would be too. We are building.
Yeah, see, that's like me. I don't have that big a crowd, okay? But the 100 or so people that I do talk with everywhere, if it wasn't for Facebook and me developing my own website and so forth, which he's done now, I might lose contact with some very important people in my life that I've never met in person, but I know spiritually and from social media.
Something special here at a crucial time. We are relentlessly and unapologetically fighting for the spirit, the culture, and the future of this country. So I've decided to fortify our movement. The easiest and most important thing I need you guys to do is follow me on X @retiredbrandon. That way, no matter what, we can always stay in contact. I've never asked before, but today I will expend some of my goodwill and ask you guys for the follow. Second, I made an email list. So every time I make a video, whether YouTube blocks it or not, or if I need to make an important announcement, I can send it directly to the people on the list. And for that, I made a website called BrandonLehmanShow.com. MarkForceGlobal.com. It'll be in the pinned comment and the description. And once you go to the site, a pop-up will ask for your email. You click subscribe. It's that easy. I would love to see 100,000 people join the list and follow me on X. And finally, this is something I had hoped to announce under happier circumstances, but the copyright strike dictates new urgency. For the past 2 months, I've been building a team to create high production, high quality, borderline cinematic videos where I can do deep dives on singular topics of importance. Every video you've seen on this channel is me just rattling off the top of the dome in response to current news. This new series was going to be me taking the time to write out my thoughts in the most expansive and deliberate way possible to provide real solutions to real problems that we're facing. And this was going to be a members only series on YouTube for the people who really value my thoughts and opinions. I've never done a sponsorship on this channel because I refuse to show my audience random garbage that doesn't work or that they don't need. I wanted my message to remain ad-free and honest, even if it meant losing out on some money. But more importantly, because if I was ever going to ask my audience for anything, it would be for them to put their faith and trust behind me. Because you know what I'm fighting for. You know what I stand for. You know what my values are. So if you value what I'm fighting for on behalf of all of us, if you want to contribute to the work that I do, if you want to ensure we continue to shine, even if YouTube goes dark, then please consider becoming a member and supporting the movement. You'll receive access to exclusive content that I promise will not disappoint. So I'll continue to post on YouTube, but now we know any video could be my last. Yeah. So even if you aren't able to become a member of the channel, make sure you follow me on X and make sure you sign up for the email list. I'm sorry for the title of this video. I hope I didn't give anybody an aneurysm. I just couldn't risk abruptly losing my audience and needed to make sure everybody saw this. And thank you again for all your support and love. Let's keep this fight going and let's save our country together.
Yeah. I like that guy. I listen to him a lot. He's right on the money. So there's Fox News. All right. So you see what goes on. And my site, MarkStephenNewhart.com. Some of you know it. Mark with a K, Stephen with a B, and Newhart with a U. So check it out.com. I got a chat there. And I'm on Rumble. And I'm not on X, but I'm on TikTok. So if you tune in at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. tomorrow, you'll catch the truth about copper. Say a prayer for Jared. He's having some throat problems, talking so much. And I went to see him yesterday. Got some things, and got a card now that has all the ingredients on it. So everything's natural and organic stuff that you might touch in the nature. That if you touch it, oh my God, shea butter. How did I get shea butter? You know. But anyway, this challenge that I'm on, this is a 31-day challenge, elliptical challenge. And 3 o'clock, I go in there and I do some promotions and stuff like that. But this challenge started way back, and this is a video from let's see. And I will tell you, I'm extremely heavier here. I'm about 270 some pounds. Okay, but the idea was to get my blood pressure back to normal again, like it is now. Okay, so I'll just cut to this for a minute, and then I'm going to put the book on and read the book again so you can catch the, man, I wish I'd have had the copper back here, huh? But here we go. Was that what I was going to do? Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Okay. Okay, this is one of the first challenges when I used to go up the mountain. September 27th, 2019.
Check on me to see if I was okay, because I was bent over trying to figure out the the damn phone. But yeah. Anyway, yesterday I was gonna go. You know, figure, well, day 33, you know, keep it going. But as it turned out, some other business I had to take care of, and I didn't get back until, you know, about this time, and it was raining. And so I figured, well, take a day off. Today, instead of going up that usual way, instead of coming up the paved roads, all the way up the mountain today has been off-road and on this heavy rock. And I pedaled all the way up to here. Now, let me tell you something. If I'm able to pedal up to there, let's see if I'm pointing in the right spot there, you know, then I'll be doing something, huh? I'll definitely be able to pedal up to the other side. So, so day 34, and you know, there's the tower we've been going up to on the other side of the mountain, right there. And then that's that crazy path I came down the other day. That was pretty fun. I didn't realize how steep it was, but when you're on an angle, you can't really tell. You know, so like this is going to be pretty steep. But you know, another thing too. Look at all these ants. They're busy. Look at that. There's their hole right there. I see so many of them when I'm cruising along. It reminds me of Rick and Morty and Million Ants. I figure each time I pass a squad and wipe out a few, about a few minutes later they're like, okay, back up to 1 million ants. The queen lays eggs so fast, right? All right. Now this is bound to get ugly. So as I struggle to push the bike to the top, because keep in mind, I am pushing the bike as well as walking. But from now on, here it goes already. Probably all you're going to hear is breathing and an occasional ouch, because I had to take Anita to urgent care. She had some kind of muscle thing flare up on the back of her neck last night. She didn't sleep very well, of course, but we was in and out of there in no time, by the way. That's at urgent care up there on Anthem Way. And, you know, Dr. Jerry, good job, man. We were in and out of there in like probably 45 minutes. So, and I really like his mannerisms and how he diagnoses. But going out of the place, I don't know, it's my own fault. I'm yakking, running my mouth. I got these concrete steps you walk up, and damned if I didn't jam all 3 of my toes on my left foot in there and roll over in front of this lady walking into the damn place. And of course I got right up and told him I was okay, but man, my toes have been killing me. Okay, right, you go. So you right. No. You right.
Until you try to climb one of these mountains and go straight up it like that, it's tough. I'm still in the little picture. I'm still going up. This is on that back trail you can see from Carefree as you're going up around there to the Sonoran Preserve. You can see this from the road, but it's kind of tricky. You could go down the side there. So I enjoyed this part of it, being out in nature, but it was more of a commitment because it was like an hour. And then I would always get carried away, and I think I could do something crazy like go straight up this mountain. It's exhausting just looking at it. Ta-da! I'm at the top of the mountain. Yay! All right, so that was where the challenges began. Down there was where I lived. That's how fat I was. And the best part was always coming back, you know, flying down the trails and stuff. But the trails over there are gone now. They're all houses. Where I'm riding right here is all houses. So, but that's how the challenge had started, with the mountain biker challenge. I tried to go up that mountain, found out I couldn't. I was unable. It took me like 5 times stopping to get up the mountain the first few cycles. But eventually I could make it all the way to the top on the 3rd bicycle. So now what I'm going to do, because I'm kind of exhausted, is I have the book that you can go to the Mark Newhart show, and too bad about Ellen DeGeneres. Did you hear about her? Oh my God, what a deal that is. Crazy. Rosie O'Donnell is apparently going to blow her in, man. She was apparently a bad girl. You hear about these people, and they seem so nice and sweet on TV. And then you find out they're monsters. I'm glad I never had to witness it in person. Okay, here we go. Man, I am really exhausted. All right, so again, say a prayer for Jarrett, who has put all this together that I'm sharing with you. I'm very fortunate to have been involved at the time because it cured my eczema totally. I don't have to worry about that anymore, but all the things I've used it on since then. It's kind of crazy, man. My knee, my back, everything. I mean, I can't even explain it all. So here we go. It is 2:31. And the truth about copper, as narrated by moi.
The truth about copper. Healing humanity through frequency, energy, and bioavailable copper by Jarrett St. Amand, founder of BioCU1. That's Jarrett K. St. Amand, in case there's another one out there. This book is autographed. Mark, thank you for all your hard work in this copper world. Enjoy the book and learn all you can so we can spread the word. Your friend, Jarrett. All right, so that's what we're doing. We're spreading the word about the truth about copper, healing humanity through frequency, energy, and bioavailable copper. All right, so this book is copyrighted 2026, Jarrett K. St. Amand, all rights reserved. So let's go right to the introduction, okay? Why copper? Why now? Copper is one of the oldest elements known to humanity and one of the most misunderstood. For thousands of years, copper has been used for tools, medicine, currency, and protection against disease. Important, yet often treated as a simple mineral trace, evaluated by quantity rather than form, function, or biological context. That oversimplification has led to confusion, misuse, and mispotential. This book exists to correct that misunderstanding. The truth about copper is not a claim copper is new. It is a clarification that copper's state, delivery, and interaction with living systems matter profoundly. When copper is handled incorrectly, it can contribute to imbalance. When delivered in its proper form, it functions as one of biology's most essential conductors of electrons, signals, and regenerative processes. This is not a memoir. It is a supplement guide, and it is not speculative wellness philosophy. All right? It is an examination of copper as chemistry, biology, and energy, working together rather than isolation. What this book is and is not. This book is written for readers seeking clarity beyond marketing, language practitioners and innovators, demanding mechanistic understanding, and anyone questioning why modern approaches to healing often ignore foundational elements. This book does not claim copper alone heals. Healing is always a system-level process. Copper's role is to remove interference, restore coherence, and allow biological intelligence to operate as designed. Throughout this work, copper is treated not as an additive, but as an enabler. How this book is organized. The chapters progress intentionally. Chapters 1 through 3 will establish copper's historical role, chemical states, and modern misuse. Chapters 4 through 6 explore copper as a conductor within physics, biology, and environmental systems. Chapters 7 through 9 examine chemistry, frequency, interaction, and ethical application. Chapters 10 through 12 address healing, legacy, and the future of copper-based understanding. Supporting appendices, sources, and references provide technical grounding for readers who wish to explore deeper. This book does not ask you to believe, it simply asks you to understand. And table of contents, we got all the chapters: origin of copper, discovery of copper, the truth about copper misuse, Tesla and the resonant field, the human conductor, healing the earth with BioCU1, the chemistry of healing, frequency, medicine, and the harmonizer, The Business of Healing, Veterans, Energy, and Legacy, The Divine Blueprint, The Future of Copper Consciousness, The Proper Copper Returns Humanity to Balance, and then, of course, the appendices, glossary, and references and sources. So, in the acknowledgments, this is very important. I've heard this story several times. I'd like to thank my dear friend Charlie Barker, who has laid to rest on December 5th, 2022. Charlie was one of the most cherished souls I've ever known, quick-witted, kind, and full of humor. His spark and energy were unforgettable, and his curiosity about copper began one of the most life-changing chapters of my journey. We met on June 29th, 2017 in Denver, Colorado, while I was sharing my story about hemp with a family that had a newborn on a rental shuttle. As I stepped off the bus, Charlie ran up to me, introduced himself, and with a serious look, he took his finger and twisted it near my belly and said, "You're the key to the world." 2 weeks later, July 13th, 2017, Charlie showed up again, this time with his good friend Eric, his Denver buddy. But before that visit, he called me first and asked me to meet him at his favorite restaurant, the Melting Pot. We met, ate, and as soon as we finished, poof, he ran out the door and said, "I'll race you to your house." I lived 45 minutes away, and somehow we arrived at the same time. He came in, met my boys, and said, "Hold on a minute." He walked out to his car, came back, and handed me something that would change my life forever. A kilo of cuprous nicotinic acid, Kuner Musker. From that moment forward, my world changed. We thank you, Charlie, and love your family. We love you and honor your legacy. To our founding company owners at Midos Energy, we say thank you for your continued support to Scott Daly, Marge Van Handel, and Eric Van Handel, as well as all the others who support the continued education with copper. This book addresses the importance of copper, whether considered in the context of electricity or scientific applications. The insights and knowledge you gain from this book will depend on your perspective and your interest. Chapter 1, The Origin of Copper and the Three States of Matter. In every age, humanity has mistaken power for understanding. Copper has paid the price for that confusion. Copper is one of the oldest elements ever known to humankind, and paradoxically, one of the most misunderstood. Long before modern chemistry, before electrons were named or oxidation states defined, copper shaped civilization itself. It was the first metal humans learned to mine, refine, and manipulate. Entire eras, the Copper Age, the Bronze Age, were named after it. Yet, despite this intimacy, humanity never fully learned copper's true nature. Instead, it learned how to use copper, not how to respect it. That misunderstanding persists today, and it begins with a failure to distinguish copper's three fundamental states of matter and biology. Copper is a civilizational catalyst. Archaeological evidence places copper being used as far back as 9000 BCE, when early societies discovered that certain green-blue stones could be smelted into malleable conductive metal. Copper reshaped tools, trade, architecture, medicine, and warfare. It enabled plumbing, coinage, electrical grids, and eventually the modern technological world. But ancient civilizations did not understand copper as chemistry. They understood it as alchemy. Copper was associated with Venus, beauty, healing, and conductivity, both physically and spiritually. Egyptian medical texts referenced copper compounds for wound treatment. Greek physicians used copper vessels for water purification. Roman engineers relied on copper for infrastructure that still survives today. What they did not do was isolate copper into unnatural biochemical forms and force it into the human body without understanding its consequences. That mistake would come much later. The three faces of copper. Modern science recognizes copper as redox active element, meaning it shifts between different electron states. These states are not interchangeable. They behave differently. They interact differently with biology, and they determine whether copper heals or harms. The first state, Cu0, is copper in its elemental metallic form. This is the copper of wires, pipes, coins, and antennas. It conducts electricity efficiently and resists microbial growth on surfaces. In this state, copper is biologically inert. It does not easily enter cells or participate in enzymatic reactions. Metallic copper belongs in infrastructure, not supplementation. When copper remains metallic, it is stable. When it corrodes, oxidizes, or leaches, it changes state, and the danger begins. Cu2, oxidized copper's toxic state. Cu2, cupric copper, is copper that has lost 2 electrons. It is the form most commonly found in drinking water from copper plumbing, Conventional copper supplements, poorly formulated skincare products, oxidized copper salts. This is where the world went wrong. Cu2 is highly reactive. In biology, it generates oxidative stress, disrupts protein folding, and interferes with neurological signaling when improperly handled. Unlike its reduced counterpart, Cu2 can bypass the liver's protective routing systems and enter circulation as free copper. Over time, this leads to accumulation, not healing. The scientific literature is clear. Cu2 toxicity behaves differently than copper overload diseases. It is subtle, chronic, and cumulative. It damages cognition, mitochondrial efficiency, and cellular communication. And yet, this is the form still used universally in supplements. Why? Because Cu2 is cheap, stable, water-soluble, and misunderstood. Cu1, reduced copper, life-sustaining state. Cu1, cuprous copper, is copper in its biologically preferred form. This is the copper that enters cells through regulated transporters, assembles mitochondrial enzymes, supports cytochrome C oxidase, enables superoxide dismutase, and facilitates cellular respiration and ATP production. Cu1 is the copper of life, not corrosion. Evolution designed human biology to recognize and safely process Cu1. Specialized transport proteins exist specifically for this state. Once inside the body, Cu1 is chaperoned, allocated, and utilized with precision. It does not roam freely. It does not accumulate improperly. It communicates, and communication at the cellular level is everything. How civilization misunderstood copper's proper form. The industrial age collapsed copper complexity into convenience. When copper plumbing spread across the modern world, Cu2 leaching into drinking water became normalized. When supplements were industrialized, cupric salts were chosen for shelf stability, not biological intelligence. When skincare companies chased antimicrobial claims, oxidation was ignored. The result was a world flooded with the wrong copper. Not because copper is dangerous, but because form matters. Just as oxygen can sustain life or cause oxidative damage depending on the context, copper can heal or harm depending on its state. This failure to distinguish between copper Cu0, Cu2, and Cu1 created a medical blind spot that persists to this day. This book exists to correct that error. Setting the stage for the proper copper revolution. Understanding copper's three states is not academic exercise. It's the foundation for everything that follows. The discovery of Cooter-Musper, the stabilization challenge that led to Bio-Cu1, the failure of conventional supplements, the intersection of copper frequency and bioelectric healing. Copper was never meant to be forced into the body indiscriminately. It was meant to be conducted like energy, like truth. In the chapters ahead, we will move from history into science, from misuse into restoration, and from confusion into clarity, because when copper is returned to its proper form, something extraordinary happens. Biology remembers how to heal. Chapter 2 is the discovery of Cooter-Musper copper 1. Every breakthrough begins as a contradiction to what everyone else believes to be true. For over a century, copper supplementation followed a single, flawed assumption that copper's biological value was independent of its oxidation state. This assumption shaped medicine, nutrition, dermatology, and public health policy. It also blinded an entire industry to a critical truth, one that biology had understood all along. Copper does not function as a generic mineral. It functions as a signal, a catalyst, and a conductor, and only in the correct form. The rediscovery of that form is where Cooter-Musper begins. The problem no one wanted to solve. Copper deficiency had long been recognized as harmful. Enzymatic dysfunction, mitochondrial fatigue, and neurological issues, immune compromise, all pointed toward insufficient copper availability. Yet attempts to correct deficiency produced inconsistent and often damaging results. Why? Because copper supplementation was solving the quantity problem while ignoring the form problem. Conventional supplements deliver copper exclusively as Cu2, the oxidized reactive state. While this satisfied labeling requirements, and elemental intake calculations, it failed biologically. Worse, it introduced long-term toxicity risks that were subtle enough to evade immediate detection. Researchers began to notice a paradox. Food-based copper appeared safe. Supplement-based copper did not. Drinking water copper correlated with cognitive decline, yet copper itself was essential to life. This contradiction demanded an explanation. The biological preference for copper won. At the cellular level, copper transport is not passive, it's selective. Human cells possess specialized transporters, most notably CTRI, copper transporter 1, that preferentially recognizes and transport Cu1, not Cu2. Once inside the cell, copper does not flow freely. It is escorted by mellochaperones to precise destinations. Mitochondria, antioxidant enzymes, electron transport complexes, cellular signaling hubs. This choreography only works when copper enters its reduced state. Cu2 disrupts this system. It bypasses regulation, generates oxidative stress, and accumulates improperly. Cu1, by contrast, integrates. The implication was unavoidable. If copper is to heal, it must arrive as Cu1 and remain Cu1 long enough to matter. That requirement presented an enormous challenge. The stabilization problem. Cu1 is inherently unstable. In the presence of oxygen or water, Cu1 readily oxidizes to Cu2. This is why most industrial processes avoid it. It is chemically inconvenient and requires protection. It demands precision. For decades, this instability was treated as barrier proof, that Cu1 was impractical for supplementation. In reality, it was a filter. Only a formulation that respected copper's chemistry rather than forcing it into compliance could succeed. The breakthrough came with chelation, not as a means of immobilization, but as a means of guided delivery. Kuhner-Muspere. Copper, nicotinic acid, and biological intelligence. Kuhner-Muspere is a copper nicotinic acid complex engineered specifically to maintain copper in the +1 oxidation state, protect it from premature oxidation, enhance cellular uptake, deliver copper where it is biologically needed, free radical chaos. Nicotinic acid, vitamin B3, was not chosen arbitrarily. It plays multiple synergistic roles. It stabilizes Cu1 through coordination chemistry. It increases lipophilicity, improving membrane passage. It supports NADA production, mitochondrial respiration, and energy metabolism. It supports NAD production, mitochondrial respiration, and energy metabolism. It complements copper's role in electron transport and oxidative balance. Together, copper and nicotinic acid form a compound that behaves less like a supplement and more like a biological courier. Copper is not dumped into the system, it is escorted. Federal recognition and NDIN validation. The legitimacy of Kuhner-Muspere was not established through marketing claims or anecdotal enthusiasm. It was established through regulatory scrutiny. The compound was submitted and accepted under FDA New Dietary Ingredient Notifications NDIN 893 and NDIN 910. These filings acknowledge not only the novelty of the compound, but its safety profile and biochemical rationale. This mattered. NDIN recognition means the compound is chemically distinct. Its mechanism is understood. Its manufacturing process is defined. Its biological behavior has been evaluated. In a marketplace flooded with loosely defined supplements, Kuhner-Muspere stood apart as a recognized new entity. Mitochondria, where copper becomes energy. Copper's most critical role unfolds inside mitochondria. Within these cellular power plants, copper is required for the assembly and function of cytochrome C oxidase, the terminal enzyme of the electron transport chain. Without copper, electron flow stalls, ATP production falters, energy collapses. Cu1 is the form mitochondria recognize. Kuhner-Muspere's ability to deliver copper efficiently into cells and into mitochondria translates into improved electron transfer, increased ATP synthesis, reduced oxidative stress, enhanced cellular resilience. This is not stimulation, this is restoration. Why Kuhner-Muspere changed everything. Kuhner-Muspere did not introduce copper to biology.
It returned copper to biology in the form biology expects. The distinction reshaped how copper could be used safely, intelligently, systematically, without accumulation of toxicity. It also exposed the fundamental flaw of the existing copper market. Copper was never a problem. The wrong copper was. From Kuhner Musker to BioCU1.com. Kuhner Musker solved the delivery problem. BioCU1 would go on to solve the application problem, especially in topical and frequency integrated context. That evolution rests entirely on Kuhner Musker's foundational insight. Copper heals when it arrives reduced, protected, and respected. The proper copper revolution began here, not as a theory, but as a verified chemical reality. Chapter 3, The Truth About Copper Misuse. Most dangerous substances are not poisons, they are half-understood necessities. Copper did not become dangerous because it was misunderstood, it became dangerous because it was oversimplified. Once copper was reduced to a numeric value, its elemental requirement measured in milligrams, its chemistry, context, and biological intelligence were quietly discarded. What followed was not malicious intent, but systematic error, an industry-wide failure to ask the most important question: which copper? The myth of more copper. Modern supplementation operates on a flawed premise that deficiency can be corrected by increasing the intake. This logic works for some nutrients. It does not work for copper. Copper is not consumed to be used indiscriminately. It is consumed to be allocated. The body maintains copper homeostasis through tightly regulated pathways involving intestinal transporters, hepatic processing, metallochaperone proteins, mitochondrial insertion mechanisms. When copper enters in the correct form, this system functions seamlessly. When it enters incorrectly, the system is bypassed. The result is not balance, but accumulation. How copper supplements fail. All conventional copper supplements use cupric salts, Cu2. These compounds are chosen because they are inexpensive, shelf-stable, water-soluble, easy to manufacture. They're not chosen because they are biologically optimal. Cu2 behaves differently than food-derived copper. It enters the circulation too quickly, just like my dog just entered the room incorrectly. It bypasses liver regulation. It contributes to the pool of unbound or loosely bound copper, often referred to as free copper. This is not copper doing its job. This is copper without supervision. Over time, excess Cu2 contributes to oxidative stress, mitochondrial inefficiency, protein misfolding, neurological vulnerability, and cognitive decline. See? These effects are not immediate, they are chronic and therefore easy to ignore. Drinking water, the invisible exposure. Copper plumbing was introduced as a public health improvement. In many ways it was. But copper pipes introduce a variable that was never fully studied: continuous low-dose Cu2 ingestion. When water sits in copper pipes, especially under acidic conditions, copper leaches into the water as Cu2. Unlike dietary copper, this copper is inorganic, unbuffered, immediately bioavailable, not routed through food-based metabolic pathways. This exposure is subtle. It does not trigger acute toxicity. It accumulates silently over decades. Population-level data reveal correlations between widespread copper plumbing and increased neurodegenerative disease prevalence, particularly when compounded by supplemental Cu2 intake. Again, the issue is not copper itself, it is the form and the root. Skincare and the oxidation trap. Topical copper products often market themselves as anti-aging or antimicrobial. Many of these claims are technically true, but incomplete. Copper ions can stimulate collagen production. Copper surfaces reduce microbial load. But when copper is formulated incorrectly, especially in water-based systems, it oxidizes rapidly into Cu2. This presents two problems. Instability, the active form degrades before it reaches the skin. Inflammation, oxidized copper can irritate tissue and disrupt skin homeostasis. Many products rely on copper peptides or salts that oxidize in contact with air or moisture. These formulations prioritize label claims over biological fidelity. True copper-based healing requires oxidation control, delivery precision, tissue compatibility. Without these, copper becomes cosmetic theater, not medicine. Why Cu2 toxicity is different from copper overload. Copper overload disorders such as Wilson's disease involve genetic failures of copper excretion. These conditions are dramatic, identifiable, and medically managed. C. Cu2 toxicity is different. It does not overwhelm the system, it sidesteps it. Tiny amounts of Cu2 entering circulation repeatedly over extended periods create a distinct pathology. No immediate symptoms, gradual cognitive changes, subtle mitochondrial dysfunction, increased oxidative burden. This is why Cu2 toxicity was missed for so long. It does not behave like poison. It behaves like noise, interfering with the cellular communication until clarity is lost. The market myth exposed. This supplement industry rarely distinguishes copper forms because doing so complicates messaging. Copper sells. Cu1 versus Cu2 requires education. As a result, consumers are misled, clinicians receive incomplete information, copper is blamed for outcomes caused by misuse. The irony is profound. Copper is condemned for damage caused by its incorrect implementation. Reframing the question. The question is not, should humans consume copper? The question is, should humans continue consuming the wrong copper? Biology has already answered this. Food-derived copper, which exists predominantly in the reduced state, is handled safely. Copper delivered through intelligent chelation and stabilization integrates effectively. Copper forced into the system as Cu2 accumulates. One heals, one harms. All right, the cost of ignoring form. When copper is misused, the consequences ripple outward. Healthcare systems misattribute causes. Neurodegeneration is normalized. Fatigue is treated symptomatically. Energy decline is accepted as aging. All while the root issue, copper form mismatch, remains unaddressed. The proper copper revolution is not about adding something new, it's about correcting a fundamental error. Preparing for the next shift. Understanding misuse clears the ground for reconstruction. The next chapter moves beyond chemistry into resonance, where copper conductive nature intersects with frequency, vibration, and the laws that govern energy itself. Copper is not merely a mineral, it is a biological conductor, and conductors respond to frequency. All right, we're to chapter 4, Tesla 369, and the resonant field. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla did not speak in metaphors when he described energy, frequency, and vibration. He spoke as an engineer, one who understood that nature organizes itself through resonant systems, not static parts. The modern world remembers Tesla for electricity. What it forgets is that Tesla was obsessed with how energy organizes matter. Copper sits at the center of that obsession. Resonance is not mysticism. Resonance is a measurable physical phenomenon. It occurs when a system responds most efficiently to a specific frequency. Bridges collapse when wind frequencies match structural resonance. Lasers function through resonant cavities. Cells communicate through oscillatory signals. Biology is not exempt from physics. It is governed by it. Every cell maintains electrical gradients. Every membrane holds potential. Every mitochondrion operates as an electrochemical engine. Frequency is not external to life. It is embedded within it. The question is not whether frequency affects biology. The question is whether biology is equipped to conduct it. Copper is nature's conductor. Copper is unique among biologically essential elements. It is redox active, electrically conductive, catalytically versatile, capable of rapid electron exchange. The These properties make copper indispensable to electron transport,
Correct.
the functional process underlying metabolism and energy production. In mitochondria, electrons move through precisely arranged pathways. Copper atoms serve as electron handout points, allowing controlled flow without chaos. This is not chemistry alone. It is signal fidelity. Where electrons move cleanly, energy is produced efficiently. Where electrons flow degrade, fatigue, inflammation, and dysfunction follows. The meaning of 369. Tesla never published a formal paper on 369. What he left behind were remarks, observations, and an intuitive recognition that certain numerical relationships repeat across physical systems. Interpreted correctly, 369 is not numerology, it is pattern recognition. 3 represents initiation and direction. 6 represents balance and circulation. 9 represents completion and integration. In oscillatory systems, these phases appear repeatedly: wave generation, wave propagation, wave revolution. In biological terms, signal initiation, signal transmission, signal integration. Copper participates in all 3. Copper and oscillatory biology. Cells do not communicate through static chemistry, they communicate through ion gradients, electrical potentials, rhythmic signaling, phase coherence. Copper-containing enzymes regulate mitochondrial respiration, antioxidant balance, neurotransmitter synthesis, immune signaling cascades. These processes are not linear, they are oscillate. CU1 enables this oscillation by allowing controlled redox cycling, the biological equivalent of tuning a circuit rather than flooding it with current. CU2 disrupts this rhythm. CU1 sustains it. Why frequency fails without proper copper. Frequency-based therapies, sound, light, electromagnetic modulation, depend on biological receptivity. A signal cannot heal a system that cannot receive it. Copper deficiency or copper misaligned systems lose coherence. Membranes lose responsiveness. Mitochondria lose efficiency. Signaling becomes noisy. Inflammation replaces regulation. This is why frequency interventions produce inconsistent results when copper biology is ignored. Copper does not replace frequency, it enables resonance, from electricity to bioelectricity. Tesla worked with this macroscopic systems, coils, currents, fields. Biology operates on a different scale, but the same rules apply. The human body is a bioelectric organism. Nerves transmit electrical impulses, muscles respond to ionic gradients, organs synchronize through oscillatory signals. Copper functions as the interface element between chemistry and electricity. It is the translator. When copper is in the correct state, signals propagate cleanly. When copper is oxidized, signals scatter. This is not philosophical, it is measurable. The resonant field is not an aura. It is the sum of coherent electrical, chemical, and oscillatory activity within a biological system. Health corresponds to signal clarity, phase alignment, energetic efficiency. Disease correlates with signal distortion, phase mismatch, energetic waste. Copper, specifically Cu1, is one of the few elements capable of operating across all these domains simultaneously. That is why it appears everywhere. Life requires precision. Why this chapter matters. Without understanding resonance, copper appears to be just another micronutrient. Without understanding copper, frequency appears abstract. Together they form a functional system. Tesla sensed this intuitively. Modern biology is just now catching up. Setting the stage for the human conductor. If copper conducts energy and frequency governs organization, then the human body is not a passive recipient of healing, it is an active conductor. The next chapter explores this idea directly, how copper transforms the human body from a biochemical machine into a bioelectrical system capable of restoration. Chapter 5, the human conductor. The body does not merely run on chemistry, it runs on coherence. Modern medicine describes the human body as a collection of systems: nervous, immune, endocrine, and metabolic. This framing is useful but incomplete. It describes components, not coordination. Coordination requires conduction. At the most fundamental level, the human body is an electrochemical organism. Every thought, every movement, every repair process depends on the controlled movement of electrons and ions. Chemistry provides the materials. Electricity provides the order. Copper sits precisely at the intersection of both.
Okay, I'm going to cut it off there and go to the gym today, and we'll pick up there tomorrow if you want to come in. If you want to go to the channel, it's the Mark Newhart Show on YouTube, and you'll be able to start the book over. And I like how the captions are able to pronounce the words better than I can sometimes, but it's Cooner Musbeer, not what it keeps coming up with. But have a good day. It's Wednesday. It's Anita's day off. I wanted to try to relax. That's sometimes more difficult. You ever have that where you try to have somebody have a relaxing day, but it's just very difficult to do that. So hopefully you will be able to figure out how to do that for the people you love, and say the Lord's Prayer wherever you are. And if you want to help me out, you can take and go to BioCU1 and order some product, 10% off. I guarantee you, you will use it. And it's over at the power station where I'll be in the next 45 minutes. I'll be coming back from there for day 20. So say a prayer for me. Maybe I'll be able to make it past 3.27. If you can beat 3.08, you get a free shake there at the power station. But I'm just going to try to hit 3 miles today. I might even just hit 3.01. Have a good day and see you tomorrow.